Good morning, hockey fans. This is Stephen Heisler with HeisHockey.com, the Victorious Hockey Company, and that crazy junior hockey discussion group on Facebook. You are watching the Junior Hockey Morning Show. We are on the World Sports Broadcasting Network, WSBN.TV. You can also see the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Hopefully this morning in your car, in your office, at your desk, just not in the bathroom. Heard about that one. That wouldn't be good. Today is Monday, June 26, 2023. Topic today, National Hockey League Draft Prospects Insight. Today's guest, the one and only Brandon Wheat Kings General Manager Marty Murray. Good morning, Marty.
Hey, Steven. How you doing?
Doing good. I first ran across Marty when he was with, we used to watch him on TV, but when he was with the Minatoros, kind of followed him around a bit to Fargo. No, Sioux Falls, right?
Falls, yeah.
And now he's in Brandon, back really home. How you liking back in Manitoba so far?
It's great. It's full circle. I played there as a young teenager. Kind of cough when I say it, but over 30 years ago, and had a tremendous experience as a player, and thought I grew from a boy into a man in those 4 years in Brandon with the Wheat Kings, led by newly Stanley Cup champion Kelly McCrimmon. He was our general manager at the time, and it's great to be back. It's a lot of things have changed about Brandon, but a lot's the same, and it's great to be back full circle for where it all started for me at the junior hockey level.
Brandon is a serious hockey town. You don't really think of that market being a Western Hockey League market, but it really is, and those fans, they are very supportive of the Wheat Kings, aren't they?
Yeah, it's Brandon, and not only Brandon, but the whole Westman region. It's kind of Westman's team, and the Wheat Kings are a historic franchise that have been part of the CHL and a very well respected program for a long, long time. And like I said, for me to be back on this side of it and be on the management side and coaching side is a huge honor for me, and I know what it afforded me as a player and as a person, and it's nice to be able to pay it back to the kids going through the program today.
Today's topic is the NHL draft coming up this weekend, and we want to talk about 5 players that you are very familiar with in your time there in Brandon this year. But first, tell us about your time that day on your draft day, what it felt like as a player, what you were doing that day, and then what was the reaction of your family once you were drafted?
Well, my draft day story is maybe a little different than most. It was the same day as my high school graduation, at that time I wasn't ranked by Central Scouting, so I wasn't at the draft. I didn't know. I'd interviewed with some teams and stuff prior to the draft, but I didn't know if I'd get my name called. So, we didn't go. It was the day of the high school graduation, and a long time ago, days before social media and Twitter and things like that. So we were sitting around the kitchen, kind of getting the suit on, getting ready to go to graduation, and I got a phone call from Kelly McCrimmon, who was our GM at the time, and he just said, "Marty, you're drafted by Calgary in the 4th round. Congratulations!" And hung up the phone, and made the day pretty enjoyable. Two big life events for me in the same day, and it was pretty memorable.
Your family had to be very proud, huh?
Yeah, it's something that you work towards and dream about ever since you're a young boy picking up a hockey stick for the first time. So, to hear your name called and have your rights owned by an NHL team is a pretty special moment.
What a way to graduate, Coach.
Yeah, it was a fun day, and I grew up in such a small town where everybody's so supportive, and it was just great to share it with not only my family but our whole community.
Let's start right now with number 5 on our list here, Tanner Mollendijk from Saskatoon. What can you tell us about that kid?
Well, he's a modern day defenseman. I think the one thing that stands out for him is his skating ability. He has the ability to break pucks out in the zone. He's just a modern day defenseman that is good in both ends of the rink. His skating allows him to get up to play offensively and be that second wave on the rush. And when he's on the ice, and sometimes there's opportunities where I felt. Maybe perhaps our guy had a step on him, and boy, he closes the gap real quick. And like I said, he's just a perfect modern day defenseman. I think he's going to be a good one.
With 28 assists and 67 games played this year, he certainly knows how to pass the puck in the right time.
Yeah, and I think he's just kind of scratching the surface on his offensive side of his game. I think that as junior hockey goes, the older you get, the more opportunity you'll have in power play, and Saskatoon graduated a couple D that played an offensive role for him. So I think that's only going to expand. He's a real good player, and he's fun to watch.
Number 4 is Brendan Yeager from Moose Jaw, centerman. He had 78 points in 67 games this year. That kid's another kid that likes to pass the puck in the right time, huh?
Yeah, as a 16-year-old, he had over 30 goals last year as our 16-year-old rookie, and he's a real good player. He's a 200-foot player. He can be in a lot of different ways. He really shoots the puck well. He sees the ice well, and he can also play that shutdown role. When he's asked. He's really good on faceoffs. He's got a presence on the ice. Another all-around real good player that plays a 200-foot game for the Moose Jaw Warriors.
Number 3 is a player you might be a little familiar with. Nate Danielson played for you in Brandon last year. Heck of a season, 33 goals, 45 assists. He's the oldest player on today's list as a 2004. Will you get him back next year?
Yeah, he'll be back next year, so that's a big plus for us.
And what about his game prepares do you think is going to be the biggest attribute when he goes to the National Hockey League?
Well, I think, some of the things I talked about with Yeager's game are very similar with Nate's game. He's a long, lanky right-handed center that really carries the puck well through the neutral zone, and he can beat you in a lot of different ways. He's got a little finesse to his game. He can beat you with speed, and he can also beat you with a little power aspect to his game as well. So there's a lot to like about Nate. As a coach, you want him out there in all situations. If you're up by a goal or down by a goal, or need a big shift against a Connor Bedard, he's the guy that gets the tap on the shoulder for us, and I think he's going to be a real good pro. He treats every day, like he's trying to get better. He's a pro through and through. The way he approaches his practices and post and pre, and he's a student of the game. He wants to get better every day, and the coach. Those are the type of guys that you're thankful to be around.
So when a National Hockey League coach calls you this week, probably 5 times, 6 times, and you're asking about Danielson's character, off the ice, what do you tell that coach?
He's an outstanding young man. I think the best example I could give to describe his character is we had our Bantam draft here in the Western League about 6 weeks ago, and the day of the draft, he texted me and he wanted all the kids' contact information that we drafted on that day, and even though he'll never play with those kids, he'll be gone playing pro by then. When they turn into Brandon Wheat Kings, I thought it was real just kind of sums up who Nate Danielson is. Taking some time to call those prospects welcome to the organization. I thought that kind of sums up his character in a heartbeat.
Absolutely, it sounds like a really good kid there. Number 2 is a player that Zach Benson, that played for Winnipeg last year. You won't be seeing him much this year, will you? When that team moves to Wenatchee.
Yeah, and I saw enough of him last year with Winnipeg was really good. They were stacked, and Zach Benson was a big part of that team. So, it's disappointing to see Winnipeg move, but at the same time, I won't miss maybe seeing those guys up close and personal all the time. They had an outstanding team, and Zach Benson to me he's a outstanding hockey player. He's got speed to kill and hockey sense off the charts, and he can change directions on a dime, and he's just one of those guys that never gives up on the puck. And you combine that with a a really good high-end skill set that it can both score and make plays by passing. He's just he's a fun little player to watch. He's a little undersized, but he gets in there. He gets his nose in there, and he gets to the dirty areas.
It's funny because of the 5 kids in this list, only Danielson's over 6 foot. All the other 4 kids are under 6 foot. Kind of throws a wrench into the spokes of the thought process. You got to be, 6 foot tall, 200 pounds to be an impact player. And it's 4 out of the 5 kids in this list are all under 6 feet.
Yeah, the game's changing, right? It's you can't hook and hold, and we used to, when we back checked back in the day, it was kind of a water skiing thing where you put your stick around the guy's waist and just water ski back with them. And obviously those days are long gone. I wish that those rules were in place when I played. That would have helped me at 5'9" a lot. But you look at as recently the NHL playoffs, you look at a guy like MARTY that won the Conn Smythe, and undersized guy, but he plays with a lot of heart. And I think obviously I think everybody would rather have a player that's 6'2", but at the end of the day, you want those guys with the heart, and it doesn't matter if you're 6'3" or 5'8". If whoever comes out of the corner with the puck is probably the guy you're going to want in your team.
Number 1, Connor Bedard. Everybody in Chicago is watching the show probably this morning, clapping their hands, waiting for this one. And I know you have a lot of insight regarding this young man. What was it like as a coach facing this kid this year?
Well, it was very nerve-wracking. He's just an outstanding player, and you know what? I think he only played 4 games against us in Brandon this year because of the World Juniors and such. He was gone when we played Regina a couple times, so we played him 4 times, and I thought in my back of my mind, I'm like, we kept him in check. And then you look at the stats, and he had 10 points in 4 games against us. So, that probably brought his points per game down, to be honest with you. But he's just a special player. And sometimes when you're behind the bench, you kind of get caught up in the moment, how good he is. And he can, I talked on a couple other occasions here today about beating you in a variety of ways. Well, nobody does that more than Connor Bedard. He shoots it so well, but if you overplay the shot, he has the ability to find the seam on a pass, and he's just got that it factor, and that he's going to make an impact on the game some way, somehow, and perhaps even when it's not his best night. We have an example where he played against Regina at the end of the year, and we kept him in check for 57 minutes, and he scored the game-winning goal on a deflection with 2.5 minutes left, and that just, to me, the kid has that it factor that he's going to be a difference maker whatever level he's at. And what he did as a 16 and 17-year-old kid in the Western Hockey League was incredible. Combine that with what he did on the international stage as a 17-year-old is mind-boggling. You look back at the history of the World Junior Tournament and some of the guys that played as underagers that are now superstars in the NHL. Connor just kind of shattered all those records as a 17-year-old kid, and he's a good one. He's fun to watch, and like I said, a little nerve-wracking when you're on the bench coaching against him.
I only hope well for the young man. I have concerns. Chicago, people are going crazy. They're buying a lot of tickets. The team's really happy, but the pressure is on. You can't look at a kid that's a 2005 and really be 18 years old coming up. Still, his birthday comes up. He'll be 18 a couple of days, maybe about 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. And the pressure is on in Chicago. They're calling him the next Michael Jordan. That's a big ask for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes with the territory, whether that's right or wrong, right? And, he strikes me as a kid that's really grounded and really humble and really wants to be the best he can be. And that's what all those exceptional athletes have. They believe in themselves. They're not arrogant or cocky. They have a little swagger to them, and they know that they can be difference makers for an organization. And saying that, I think we all know that it's not one person that is going to drive a team. I think I think people have to remember he is going to be an 18-year-old when he breaks into the league, a young 18-year-old, and there's a lot of pressure that goes along with it. But just I don't know Connor on a personal level, but just listening to